Oh, hey. Hold on. You guys just missed it. I just sliced up a lot of bad guys back there. But you may be wondering, why not a complete Deadpool cosplay? But have you seen our videos? Our last one only got like 30 views. But you can help. Did you know that only one like can feed a YouTuber for a week? Did you know that 1 out of every 4 YouTubers even have money? And we have none. We can't even afford to use this song anymore. But that's where you come in. Just do us a favor. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll love you forever. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Nerdy Narcotics here, coming straight from the actual theater to my apartment to talk about the review of Deadpool, which is what we watched. Opening night, phenomenal. I'm a huge Deadpool fan, and we're going to do this a little different because about halfway into the movie, we're going to go into spoilers, and I'm going to give you all a heads up, and that's when you can back out, like, and subscribe if you're not going to watch the spoiler part right there. And we're going to start talking about it if you don't care about spoilers, and you're going to see it anyway, it doesn't matter. You can go on. So jumping straight in, we're going right into review score. Off the bat, I said phenomenal a minute ago, I think, but 8.9 is my review. I think it's just shy of being just amazing and super great, or just a great movie. It's just a little bit short, but 8.9 is my out of 10.
Yeah, mine is 7.9. Great movie, but not perfect.
I'm going to be somewhere in the middle, 8.5. There's definitely room to improve, but it's not a bad movie at all. It is fantastic.
And I think that puts kind of our official capacity as the Nerdy Narcotics review would be an 8.5 chimichangas out of 10 as kind of a balancing for us. And so we're going to start out by talking about some dislikes. And the first thing I think anybody's going to watch it and say is the length. It's like an hour and 47 minutes. It's not long enough. The pacing and stuff, because you can understand the pacing, how it's going to be off if you've only got an hour and 47 minutes, because it's predictable. And it's just, it's fast in a moment, and then it's real slow and dramatic. It's fast in a moment, it's real slow and dramatic. So anytime the timing is so short, it's a lot to do in a little bit of a time, which would go into another dislike. What would that be? Anybody?
I didn't like the fourth wall breaks. Like, I thought there was a few too many of them, and they were a little too heavy-handed. I thought it was just maybe if they cut like maybe 2 or so.
This is where me and Nate think you're insane, and so will a shit ton of other people.
Anybody who likes Deadpool and seriousness in Deadpool comics knows fourth wall breaks are just his bread and butter. That's Deadpool.
Yeah.
Merc with the mouth, and then second on his list is fourth wall breaks. I think they were spot on. I mean, like, one more would have been too many, one little would have been too few. It was just perfect. They spaced it out. You got a wall break, and then you got some time without it. I thought it was just downright perfect. But if you don't like that kind of humor, he's got a point. If you don't like maybe Scary Movie with the Wayans brothers, or at least one of the Wayans, you may feel that little, it's a little bit too much. Deadpool fans, though, you're solid. So let's go into some of the likes, though. I'd say off the top of my head, the humor is just on point. It's what you would expect from a Deadpool. When you think
is Deadpool.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's Deadpool. It's Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool, and that's it's all that can really be said about it. Any other specific likes you could think of?
I really liked Weasel that was in the movie, played by T.J. Miller, which was fantastic casting. It was so good.
And I guess if you're going to talk about casting, we go right back. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds happens to be Deadpool. Mm-hmm. It just works absolutely perfect.
And a Green Lantern.
Don't you ever say that crap again.
That is
ever.
blasphemy. I will tie you to a stake and just be like, this guy said Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern. So, you know.
It makes sense. There is a lot of gore and sex in the movie, as would be expected. It's awesome. I know a lot of parents are going to not let their kids watch it, which, I mean...
Or parents will go like, here, let's go see the new Marvel superhero movie. It's rated R. Well, it's a superhero movie, right? Let's go see it anyway.
It's got like the full frontal. It's got the blood and gore, which, I mean, who cares about blood and gore anymore? It does have the sex scenes. It's pretty heavy, so if you're going to sit with your child, get your hands ready for those eye-covering scenes.
You see a penis several times.
And some other things.
Ryan Reynolds.
There's a selling... Why did they advertise that? That's selling points.
You see his penis.
Deadpool as Ryan Reynolds' penis. That works perfectly.
Yeah.
And I'm saying all this like it's negative, like, oh, there's a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of sex, but it's awesome. It's amazing. It's what you want from Deadpool. It's awesome. The one other thing I'll go into, and I was worried they were going to ruin the movie slightly by just being funny. And I thought it was going to be like, oh, everybody likes Deadpool, he's funny, it's a comedy, it's going to be like, once again, scary movie, just crazy over the top. But the Deadpool comics often have a lot of really serious, like, the final boss battle, you'll see that Deadpool's actually a person who has the feelings, and the almost the clown persona is his coping mechanism, so to speak. And they kept that. There is a lot of scenes in here that you will be like, oh my god, that's horrible, that's deep, that's emotional. And I'm glad they kept that.
Hurts my heart.
And I'm going to jump right into spoiler-free territory. So here's our switch over. This is the like, subscribe now, leave a comment, and go watch the movie. We're starting on spoilers now.
Go fucking watch it.
Yep.
Alright guys, moving on to spoiler territory. And we're going to start with the dislikes like we did before. So the first dislike I'm going to go into is him getting his powers. And this is weird. It didn't feel right. The main villain gives him his powers, who is a doctor who is recruited, but he kind of feels like he's supposed to be Army is training him, but it's not the Army, it's private. And even though the guy's like supposed to be curing him and giving him powers, from the get-go, they're enemies. And I just really didn't like that whole...
I also didn't really like the character himself, the villain character. I thought he was kind of forgettable, and
Well, I
mean,
don't
the
like...
casting is okay. Like the actors did a good job, but just the character itself wasn't.
There really wasn't in all, and this is I'm just dawning on me that this is a problem with the movie on a broader spectrum. There's no character development at all. At no point do you see any, and this is how they could have elongated the movie, but at no point do you see any history of the main bad guy. How does he discover he's a super mutant too? How does he meet that girl that he's in love with?
We don't know if they're even in love.
Well, he grabs her chin, and it implies. There's like villain backstory. It's none of that, and I think that hurts it a lot. And they could have expanded so much on and the problem that bothers me is he gets his powers, and the guy's supposed to be healing him, but the guy's like, "Oh, I'm going to torture you while I heal you." Like, we're so maniacal. Like, it just didn't work. He was supposed to be like a good guy. They totally could have done a good guy going bad type scenario, and it just like, no, I'm an asshole out the gate, and I didn't like that.
I didn't like how it's not the doctor from the comics or the same doctor who messed with Wolverine.
Which is what I thought. Like, I hate to bring up Origins, but I thought Strider or something like that? Stryker?
I think for Deadpool it was like Dr. Kill something. It was a very evil name.
Ominous.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't. I thought they could have done better. Going on, I would have to say I really actually liked Negasonic Teenage Warhead, but I think they were complaining about her.
Yeah, I didn't like. I mean, she's just kind of like a B character. Like,
she was bland.
Yeah,
she had like 3 lines in the movie.
But I did like her. She had a cool kind of badass thing. I think her being in the next movie as like a main sidekick. I will say this about the pacing and the timing of the movie. If you've ever played the video game, it has a lot in common. Short, funny spurts, lacking a little bit though in areas as far as like polish, link, stuff like that. They pulled a lot from the trailers. I'm not a fan of seeing a scene from the trailers in this movie at least, and it being just a carbon copy. Like, you know when they're revealing Deadpool's face and Weasel has said, "You look like Freddy Krueger face fucked the topical map of Utah, and Avocado fucked an older avocado," and all that stuff. I thought there were cuts, and then there was going to be one different one in the movie. But they kind of used the same stuff from the trailers there. The whole scene from like the CGI plan that was released years ago. So I didn't really like that one.
Yeah, it wasn't released. It was leaked.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
There was a lot given away in the intros. And yeah, like the avocado joke, there was like a little bit, it went on a little further, but like that was, they gave away everything else.
And I'd have to say probably the last thing for me I disliked was how he meets the love interest. Now, it's a prostitute. Now, I'm all for Deadpool meeting his love interest as a prostitute, but their whole chemistry was really, really weird, and once again, no backstory on her whatsoever.
I thought it was awesome.
He meets the prostitute, but she comes up to him like she's in love with him and stuff like that, and then she's like, oh, she wants the money, and then they play carnival games in the skee ball in the arcade.
That's what you want to do with the 48 minutes. It's
funny, but it's like she's going from love interest to prostitute all in one. It didn't... I didn't float. And then she's like wife material. Then she's got a fucking immaculate apartment or something like that. Just, like, this prostitute makes bank apparently, which $240 something for the
48 minutes.
Let's say 4 to 6 minutes or something. Or she
No, it was 48. And
48.
And then
I thought it said 4 to 8.
He gave him something. He gave her something.
The ring.
Else. Yeah, the little Voltron ring for an extra.
So apparently,
3 minutes.
Apparently she is expensive enough that she could probably afford that apartment. But I didn't like her. I'm all for Deadpool having his love interest as a prostitute. She was a little inconsistent in being like wife material. And I've learned you can't make a whore housewife. And she just went whore housewife just like that.
Well, that probably goes more back to what you were talking about pacing. It is just kind of paced and kind of strewn together quickly at that area.
In a lot of areas seem really quickly stringed together. Going on to likes, the references are there. All the references you could ever want, everything. They reference the older movies, Green Lantern, Origins. There's a Green Lantern card in his actually wallet that I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
My favorite reference was this Origins Deadpool figure with his mouth sewed shut and everything.
Oh yeah, and he pulls the vinyl.
And there's another reference to that where he says, "I should show your mouth shut."
He's like, "You shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
That's awesome. Stan Lee's in it, the greatest reference of all time when it comes to a Marvel film. He's in one of these roles that Stan Lee can pull it off, but you wouldn't expect another old man to
That's the
necessarily be doing
one
it.
thing we don't want to spoil for anyone.
I told them not to go into what he's doing because it is funny and out of the blue. And
It's the one time I've ever clapped in a movie theater, and I felt like an asshole for doing it. But it's like, it's worth it.
the music, it's on point. Obviously, the trailer did excellent. Give it to you. In the movie, they had the song by, what was the name of the band that he holds the vinyl up to? 4-letter word.
Lamb?
Wham. They used that. They
Wham.
used exactly what you would think. And the I'm gonna call the song Captain Deadpool because we can't find the actual name yet because it's not been put online. So the music's awesome. I'm trying to think. Deadpool's interactions with everybody is awesome.
The casting was pretty good overall.
Yeah, I liked his interaction with Colossus. I thought it reminded me of the video game, which I liked.
And his interaction with like the taxi driver was really funny, and just everybody he interacts with,
He
Deadpool
had
clicks
character
with.
development, the taxi driver.
Oh yeah, he had more character development.
He went from
than
over
Deadpool.
here to way over here.
That's something if they would have elongated and had more than like 2 scenes with the taxi driver, they could have like really like shown him slipping into his what Deadpool ends up making him kind of thin. There's so many opportunities. The sad part is this movie wasn't short because they didn't have content. Is that they didn't work and take the time to extend it, I think, quite as they should. And I guess another thing I'll mention liking, maybe the last thing we'll talk about, is Wade Wilson before Deadpool is awesome. Wade Wilson is Deadpool regardless, but before going to like his humor side being psychotic, he's still really funny and just really on point, and I really liked what they did with Wade Wilson. Anything else you guys think in particular you stood out that you liked?
Al was funny.
Oh yeah, the interaction, because Big Al's in there. Not Big Al, Blind Al, I mean to say. Yeah, it's his roommate, and she's an old blind lady, and it kind of works. They have a cool interaction.
One more dislike that I had was his whole regeneration thing. And, like, at one point, he loses a limb, and it starts growing back. It felt like it took a little bit too long, because I thought his healing factor was supposed to be better than Wolverine's, you know?
As far as I know, and from what I've seen in the comics when I've read, is his getting shot by bullets and stuff, that's fine. He almost is instant, pretty much. Or a couple seconds at least. His regeneration is what always takes a long time. And getting his hand cut off does take time. And I mean, he rides in a truck when that happens. It's a span of a couple hours. It's not like 3 days later he's still got a baby hand. So it's pretty quick. Just the decapitation or de-loss of a limb is what takes a long time. But, you know, Wolverine in X3, I think it was, gets shot in the head, falls over, and just stays down, and he just gets shot up, which I would have liked to actually see some regeneration on camera, but that's expensive CGI that they didn't want to put into it.
Yeah, that costs money.
I think the success of the first one, and you should really go see it to contribute to that success, will lead to the second one just being on point. I think once you see the second one, people will look back at the first one like, that was trash. So guys, I guess that's all we have time for today. All we can say about Deadpool. I'm thinking about going back and seeing it tomorrow, personally, but I'm just a crazy Deadpool fan. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe to Nerdy Narcotic for all your geek and gaming related addictions. Peace, yo.